I really won't let you go as a development expert if we don't look at possible specific strategies for job creation. You know, over the years, we've always heard about, I will create this X amount of job, but let's start talking about specifics.
Well, you leave job creation to the job creators, to the people who develop and exploit resources and who are able to manage resources. The problem we've had over the years is that we've expected the creation of jobs from government. I mean, I don't know where, at some point in time it slid to that, you know. Another issue, another problem we've had is that we've had a monocultural economy, or an economy that drifted into monocultural, into a monocultural state that is oil dependent. Now you need to diversify that economy, one, and the government needs to loosen its hands. It's to be a bit more of a regulatory, you know, and do the oversight, ensure that the environment is created, that the dynamics of society itself. Human beings are naturally creative.
Which is where, you know, some people will say that this administration has done pretty well in terms of trying to ensure that they remove their hands from certain critical areas and try to be regulators. You have, telecommunication was already deregulated before this administration, but they took over and also followed up on power, which has been largely deregulated. Do you think that government has hands off enough, or do you think that it didn't hands off properly? What exactly
like
are
you
your
said,
thoughts?
the previous government before this regulated telecoms. This one stepped it up and started entering into power. I think this is where you have to realize that government is a continuum. I believe that you will have people who will do, I mean, the government has set up its own transition committees right now. And I believe that some of the things that the transition committee is looking at is exactly what's working, what direction, what trajectory that we should be going. And I believe the outgoing government too is preparing some kind of handover notes, you know. So I think that, I mean, like I said, I don't want to be specific on what should be done, but one critical issue to all of us is the issue of power. I mean, we must get the issue of power right. I think that the previous government was, you know, it was getting some things done. You have to unbundle some of the constraints of power. You have to change some of the laws. I think at times the federal government tended over the years to have accumulated too much responsibility than they had the capacity to deliver. So when the federal government got all that to itself and it couldn't have the capacity to deliver that much responsibility, of course inefficiency had to set in. Now how to unloose itself from that accumulation of responsibility in a manner that does not fracture, you know, either socially, because you have workers, you have labor issues, you have issues of property rights, you have issues of, you know, development direction, you know. To be able to do that, it'll take some kind of graduated time. Now, it depends on the capability of whoever is responsible to make that process happen. If there's someone who's pretty sharp, who understands what he's doing, who's creative, who can think fast, and if you have a legislative arm of government, because I do not see how we wouldn't have some major legal or statutory reforms to be able to unloose it. But it's very clear to everyone that, you know, the private sector needs to play a greater role. Government needs to be a bit more smart, you know, smart and not sluggish in terms of its personnel and its ability to be responsive to the people. The people themselves, too, should be able to give the right feedback. They should be able to play their own responsibilities. I mean, payment of taxes as a culture is a beautiful thing. You know, when you pay your tax, it gives you the confidence, the authority to ask questions. It puts a responsibility on government to be able to keep proper accounts. You know, things like proper accounts, proper information, proper measurement of what we do. It must become a part of our culture, you know. And I think, you know, in that direction, whether it's in power, whether it's in agriculture, almost the same thing happened in agriculture with additional, you know. And then you've got information technology coming up, which is good. I think the way we educate our children, the way we improve the skills, And people, quite frankly, I think continuous learning should be a broad-based thing. I mean, from security personnel to federal government personnel, it's a question of continuous learning because we're learning every day, we're developing every day. As a matter of fact, learning is a precursor to development. That's why I call it learning and development. You know.
I was just going to ask you quickly,
Yeah.
though. 2015 has been
Yes.
said to be, was going to be a difficult year.
Yes.
How is the development world also taking that in? Is it internationally as well? And how is, is development also taking that in and also moderating their goals according to how the economies of, the developing countries they're looking at is going to be?
Well, yes, in the sense that, I told you the MDGs effectively, this is the terminal year of the MDGs, 2015. So the new agenda, which is called it is the new agenda, which is called the Sustainable Development Goals, have actually predicated on 5 pillars. The primary pillar is having an inclusive society. And basically, it's still geared towards poverty reduction because, quite frankly, you can't manage, you've got to deal with the poverty issue. So, and they have an agenda starting from 2016 to 2030. Right, so 2015, of course, and that's why I say it's an auspicious time in Nigeria's life, and we can take advantage of this. We can take advantage of this fact. Other countries, no. I mean, things have become. Look, there are a number of potential challenges that we will need to face in the next couple of centuries. I mean, the world's population is not growing smaller. People are becoming more connected. We had Ebola. Ebola didn't start off in Nigeria, but because the world has become a global village, we've had to. The role that Nigeria played during combating Ebola was contributory to global development. Because if Nigeria did not checkmate Ebola here, and it spread to Niger and it spread otherwise, God knows where else it would have gone to. So we have it's interwoven. So I think the universal goals, our own national development group at the time our government, Buhari, sets into place, these goals will have some consistency with the global goals, and I hope that state governments should develop long-term development plans. We've just been doing the citizens' engagement for Lagos State Development Plan 2012 to 2025. Other states should follow that, that platform.
Very quickly closing. What would you love to see in the first 100 days?
In the first 100 days, I'd like to see a team that is ready to go. I'd like to see a team that is ready to go. I'd like to see a people that is paying attention to their government. I would like to see the right messages going down. And when I mean a team that is ready to go, I'd like to see people who are ready to, get their hands dirty, and focus in a way that, basically on what we're saying.
Well, we can't wait to bring you back here in the studios after the first 100 days to see what analysis we can get from the Buhari government. Shina Fagbemi-Byron, he is a development expert. We'd like to thank you so much for coming. Time for us to go to the newsroom where Anne is up again to give us an update.